Have you ever thought about how it would be to have sex for the first time ever on your wedding night? I dream of my wedding night because I am saving sex for marriage. Think back to the first time you have ever had sex if you have. I'm sure it is the most memorable time you have ever had sex. If you are still a virgin like me, then don't you want to be able to tell your spouse that they were your first? My religion has always taught that having sex before marriage is wrong, and I agree. Sex is a special thing between a husband and a wife. I am waiting for my wedding night to have sex because I believe it will give me a better marriage. People, especially teenagers, should not have sex before they are married. Sex before marriage has many consequences. Different things can influence you against abstinence. You can be abstinent even if you come from a broken home. Family relations and the other activities of young people affect their risk of being sexually active before marriage. According to the Journal of Marriage and Family, children who have a single parent are more likely to become sexually active than those whose biological parents are still married. Because of the lack of the father and mother parenthood, children will become depressed, therefore looking to find their fulfillment in sex. It also can depend on whether the child had a decent relationship with their parent or not. It was found to be more common for teenagers who were associated with delinquency, drugs, alcohol, cheating in school, and smoking to be sexually active, according to Whitbeck in 1999. This, of course, does not mean that all girls who are involved in these things are sexually active. It is a known fact that being sexually abstinent is one of the hardest things that youth struggle with today. Even if you are a teenager who hasn't been involved in such things, you are not doomed to become sexually active at an early age or even before marriage. It is a choice you have to make. Those who have sex before marriage by choice have possible consequences to their actions. These consequences may include unwanted pregnancy, which may result to abortion, STDs, and marriage problems. According to Moses Angonsola, this result averred that the individuals who engaged in premarital romantic activities experienced lower quality of marital relationship and marital stability than their counterparts that did not. Because of the emotional toll that sex takes on a person, doing it with multiple people can cause problems. If your spouse is not the one and only person you have made love to, then it is hard to give yourself fully to them in marriage. This is why it causes problems in marriage. Marriage is supposed to be a man and a woman owning each other fully. When your partner has already given themselves to someone else in sex, it's like you share the ownership of your spouse with someone or many others. Of course, we all know what sex causes: pregnancy. When you have sex before you are married, you may become pregnant and not be able to take care of the child. For youth who get pregnant because they had sex before marriage, they normally have to drop out of school, therefore they will not be able to get a good enough job to support their family. Depending on who you sleep with before you are married, differs in your risk of getting STDs. This is just a known fact and risk you take when you have sex before you are married. Of course, you can still get STDs if you wait to have sex when you are married, but only if your spouse did not stay sexually abstinent like you did. These consequences are up to you to take. Believe it or not, the consequences from having premarital sex can cause consequences of their own. If you get pregnant and you are not married, you have to decide whether you're going to keep the baby or not. This is a tough decision for many. The choices in the matter result to keeping the baby, putting it up for adoption, or getting an abortion. According to Dudley in 2003, each year almost half of all pregnancies among American women are unintended. About half of these unplanned pregnancies, 1.3 million each year, are ended by abortion. These unintended pregnancies most likely happen because of premarital sex. Because of the effect that premarital sex takes on the marriage, the results are not good. People end up getting divorces because of their decisions to be sexually active. Not all people who are sexually active before marriage end their marriage in divorce, but couples who engaged in premarital sex under cohabitation arrangement before marriage tend to show lower levels of relationship satisfaction than couples who did not, as Moses Ogunsala reported in 2012. Premarital sex affects a person emotionally more than anything. Where you come from in life affects your risk of having sex before marriage. Sex before marriage has many consequences. These consequences have their own consequences. People, especially teenagers, should not have sex before they are married. Too many people, especially teenagers, are having sex today. I'm sure it feels good and makes you feel important, but to me, there are too many risks involved. To be safe and feel morally right, I have decided to be sexually abstinent.